And we have safety Julian Love. Julian, how you doing, man? I said I wouldn't ask you how you're doing because we know you're doing great, but how great are you doing? How about that question?
I'm doing great. There's definitely a buzz in the air. Obviously, a great win for the Hawks.
Yeah, that was, and it's kind of interesting, Julian. You guys, over the last few weeks, you've had some adversity. And, I was telling somebody what a gritty team this is. And you guys have responded really well to, I had a couple of personnel things happen and then the power thing. And, it just, does it seem like, when your back's up against the wall, sometimes you play a little bit harder, you're a little bit sharper. You guys, have you felt that a little bit?
Yeah, a little pressure creates diamonds. And so the circumstances have been, out of our control in a lot of ways, and we just have relied on each other, got closer. And this past week, especially just with the community in general, with the power outages, with trees falling, all the craziness, the team definitely got closer, and we felt definitely one with the community, and we're just ready to come out swinging on Sunday.
Hey, Julian, yesterday after the game, Leonard mentioned a meeting that you guys had, or kind of everyone sitting down and talk about what had to be done before that 49ers game. What do you think came out of that, and are you noticing a big difference from that meeting?
Yeah, I think, it's all about kind of our process. That word is such a buzzword, but kind of how we go in and attack Wednesdays, Thursdays, kind of the days where, we're game planning, we're practicing, we're getting after it. It shows us and leads us having confidence on Sunday. And it's very true with this team. If we kind of have our fun, swag out, are locked in during the week, then it's so easy. We can all play fast on game day. And so that's what we're learning about ourselves. And we're learning just how to be tough and how to fight for 60 full minutes.
Julian, you get a nice bird's eye view. You're sitting back there at safety, and you can pretty much see the whole defense in front of you. Is there anything that stands out that you're like, oh, that's it? Like, was there a feeling where things clicked? I mean, this could go back actually to like the Ram game when you guys, held them to like 65, 70 yards, whatever, rushing. Is there anything or a few moments where you were like, that's it?
Yeah, it's definitely just a vibe. Starting with the Rams game, obviously we didn't get the win, but defensively we felt like we shored up a lot of things that were kind of plaguing us early in the season. I think with the addition of Ernest Jones being huge, the guy is a baller. He's young, he's playing fast, he just has that swag that kind of a Seahawks linebacker should have. And then just our front got healthy, honestly. Having Byron Murphy and Leo out there healthy and just ready to go, it's just a force. And so when I'm on the back end, it makes my job easier for sure. I don't have to take as many hits or make as many hits because those guys are blocking up the run.
Well, speaking of easier, what's it like watching from that level when you see Leonard Williams just get into the backfield all of a sudden? On every play, it felt like.
Oh, man, it's so exciting. Leonard's my guy. I've had the pleasure of playing with him for 6 years now. It's our 6th year together, dating back to our time in New York. And I just know his game that when he has his blood in the water early, his full bag is unlocked, and he just goes to work. And yesterday, the first series, we had 2 sacks. And just the sense of our D-line is like, okay, yeah, we're about to wreck the game ourselves. And it's so fun. That's what good defensive football is about.
You and Spoon look like you're just a blur. And there's a lot of times where I'm like, I see you closing and I think maybe that's Spoon, and vice versa, just because you guys are playing so fast, man. And I got to say, as far as a play that didn't count, that interception you had yesterday, I know it was out of bounds, but you got to say that's probably one of that should be on your highlight film, I feel like, even though it wasn't a pick.
Yeah, I might just throw that on the highlight tape. That was just that's a fun play. I wish I could get my knee or my feet down for sure. But yeah, Kyler Murray scrambling around, thought he had an open receiver, and I kind of had a good sense of it the whole way, and just kind of closing speed. You just, don't think, just go. And thankfully I have some good hands. Caught the ball, just got to get my feet down next time.
Were you kind of baiting him a little bit? Do you do that? Because it kind of looked like you were almost inviting him to make that throw, knowing you're going to close on it.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. And I was, when you play against guys like that, you just try to put a sense of, okay, what does he feel what he has right now? And Greg Dortch was kind of breaking out, playing off of him scrambling. And so, yeah, I was trying to get over there, knowing that was his only option. Either that, throw it away, or take a sack. And so Then I saw him, start to wind up, and then I had to accelerate a little bit more to be able to get my hands on it.
Hey, what's the communication with all of you guys like when you're playing a quarterback like Kyler Murray, where the threat of the run is almost as dangerous as the pass if he gets out of the pocket? You guys did so well containing him and containing the entire run game yesterday. How do you prepare for a quarterback like that?
Yeah, I mean, the week is just a grind of a week. When you play an elite guy who can just be so creative with the ball, like Kyler Murray, you just have to be sound. There's not much talking on game day. It's just everyone do your job. If you have the quarterback, if you need to contain, if you need to push the middle of the pocket, do that. Don't do anything extra, because that's how he kills teams. When he gets out of the pocket free, when he makes plays with his feet, and then that leads to explosives with his arm. And so the D-line was just locked in. Our rush plan was pretty sound, and we try to eliminate him as best we could of running the ball. But he presents some challenges, but he's got to be sound.
Hey, Coby, I didn't think he had that in him, that celebration that he had. Coby, he's such a sweet, nice, polite guy. And not that it was rude or anything. It's just that it was, I don't know, it just seemed out of character. But I loved that. Take us through that whole play. First of all, Spoon does a good job keeping Murray inside and forces him to throw. But, just take us through that play and watching Coby go across the goal line.
Yeah, so crazy sequence. It was fourth down, and I think it was third or fourth down and short. And they ran a play, but we buzzed a timeout right before it.
Right.
So Spoon broke up the play, and obviously that was like a situation. But then we get another shot, and of course we get a pick. But Spoon, to start that play off, he's trying to make a play on the run, trying to kind of get James Conner from the side angle of potentially just a dive play. But then he realizes Kyler pulled it and just did such an elite athleticism, reverse pivot, to then work back down flat along the line of scrimmage and cut Kyler off, because if he's not there, he's just running. And then he threw the ball. Cole, was in the perfect position with the receiver, caught it. A few blocks were thrown. Spoon celebrating on the sideline, on the Cardinals sideline. Then realizing Coby's running, gets back into play, takes out James Conner, who's gaining some ground. And then the more Coby Bryant's on the field, I think the Seattle community will learn that he has a chip on his shoulder. He's not not the sweetest, teddy bear. Coby Bryant walks around the building just with a huge chip on his shoulder, with that swagger, that just that charisma that really, Seattle's defenses have been known to have. He's that. He has some stuff to him. And so that was just a kudos to obviously Marshawn, but just a little swagger and energy to let you know that Coby Bryant's arrived and he's going to be making plays for the Seahawks for a long time.
Hey, Julian, we've heard a lot about what Ernest Jones has done since arriving here, and it's so impressive coming kind of in middle of the season, jumping right into what he's been doing and kind of calling the defense. What have you noticed out of him and how he's brought kind of all levels of the defense together?
Yeah, it's really incredible. He got here on a Wednesday night, so missed a day of practice, whatever, I forget what week it was. Maybe it was a Rams week. And played in the game. Was it the Rams week? Or
Bills,
Buffalo?
maybe?
Maybe
it was Buffalo.
Buffalo?
It was Buffalo.
Yeah, because he played him twice in a row, I think, or something like
yes,
that.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And he just was playing fast. And he's very he's a great leader, but he listens. Right now, he's a little quiet sometimes. But when he steps on that field, man, he transforms into just such a dog. And I think that's what this defense needed. You have guys like me, kind of people, trying to direct people. There's the thinkers on the field, and then there's the doers. I think we need a few more doers, and Ernest has been that for us. Such an elite production rate so far in his, 4 or so games with us. It's been great.
Yeah. Okay, so, you were saying that Coby, he might surprise you, that he's a little bit more of a dog than you think. I would say the same thing about you, probably, right? You probably have your mode that you get into when you're out there. I don't know if you talk a lot, but what's your attitude on game day when you're between the white lines? Yeah,
I try to have an edge to me for sure. You got to kind of go into that dark place and just be a dog. I'm not full blown Brian Dawkins-esque, but I try to I try to present what is needed for the team, and I think that's swagger, that's energy. Sometimes if you got to talk some crap, then that's kind of what it is. Just I enjoy playing football, and I think I have my most fun when I make it just kind of a gritty kind of breaking the other person's will kind of game. And it's a challenge sometimes because I'm very different off the field. And I'm grateful that, the Seahawks, when I got here last year, were very open to who I was on the field versus off the field, because it hasn't always been the case for me in my past.
You mentioned Brian Dawkins. Is that a guy you kind of modeled yourself after? Or who did you kind of model your game after, maybe when you were coming up and then when you got into the league?
Yeah, so I wore number 20 my whole life, pretty much. I wore it, growing up playing Little League football or Pee Wee football in high school. I picked number 20 because of Barry Sanders. I used to play offense. I just, he was electric, even though I'm a Chicago guy. But then, as I was growing up, I really liked the Ravens. And so Ed Reed was kind of, that guy. No one was talked about in such a high regard in terms of, defensively before that I've seen in my life. And, so Ed Reed is kind of somebody that I really like. And then just being from Chicago, Charles Peanut Tillman, I think is a guy that, maybe when he was playing, it was talked about that he was such an elite production guy. But, I mean, his legacy, I think, is still underrated. And he's, a Hall of Famer. But that's still two people that I really have appreciated growing up.
Boy, you're right about Tillman. I mean, what an innovator. I mean, that punch out, I mean, it's ridiculous. And
punch.
Nobody was doing that. Hey, I know you're a family guy. And was it last year against the Titans when you had a child? Was that the game?
Yeah. It was right after that Monday night game, and then a few days before the Tennessee game. It was crazy time.
And I forget, was that your first or your first child?
Yep, first.
Yep. So how about Thanksgiving? I mean, I know the NFL season ruins all the holidays, but I mean, it also makes it cool too. But any plans for with your family, or what do you got going on for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we're gonna stay obviously in the area. We fly to New York the next day, but we're gonna have some friends. We're gonna do kind of a Friendsgiving. My wife and I, the baby, Leonard Williams, a few teammates, a few of the wives on the team. We'll get together and just break bread and just enjoy our time, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Julian, thanks for spending the time with us. We really appreciate you playing great, man. You're so much fun to watch, and love having you on the team and on our show. So appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me as always. I appreciate you guys for what you do.